Welcome to Hero Club. I'm Nick Williams.
And I'm George Primavera.
George and I started playing Dungeons & Dragons with our buddies in college, and we haven't stopped since. Even when we lived on opposite coasts, I would Skype in George on the TV in the living room of my apartment,
while I would DM from the floor of my bathroom so as not to wake up my roommate. When I finally came out to Los Angeles, we started playing with our friends right away.
And when we'd inevitably tell other people about the ultimate betrayals and daring heroics that happened in our games, we realized that they were just hearing a jumbled mess instead of the cinematic blockbuster memories that were in our heads. We wanted to show people how fun and immersive D&D can be, especially those who had never played.
And to do that, we record a full game like normal around the table and then painstakingly cut it down from 4 hours to a clean, math-free episode, so you can experience our memories the way we do.
Just like in a real game, nothing is ever written or planned out ahead of time with the players. The only things we add are music and sound effects.
I am the Dungeon Master. I build the world and the framework for an adventure. The players, like Nick, must then journey through the obstacles I set before them, rolling a 20-sided die and adding character-specific bonuses to see if they succeed. If they beat the number I have in my head, then their action is successful. If not, it is a failure, and there may be consequences. We try to follow the rules of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition as close as we can, but as the Dungeon Master, what I say goes, and there are some things I like to do differently.
Each season is its own contained story, so find one that sounds interesting to you and start from the top. And hey,
welcome to the club.
Town. Ha, ha. On a trawler, slick with squalor, bound in shackles and a collar. A person's felled, a person's held, as they cry out for a messiah, like a spicy jambalaya. A righteous horse rises from the sauce. Is it him, or could it be? Is it him, or may that me? Is the hero of the bayou, hero of the bayou. The salvation is to bayou, that hero from the bad bayou. The fan blades go around and round to take you home. Around and round, the fan blades go around and round to take you home. Around and round, the fan blades go around and round to take you home. Around and round, the fan blades go. He'll make his presence known. Here he comes, he's the hero.
Hero Club presents ClusterMuck. Chapter 5. Sheer Dumb Muck. Finally, with the understanding of how we got here, we return to Mudtown late in the evening as Barry Darling approaches the swamp bank. Barry, your jet ski comes to a sputtering halt just a few hundred yards away from a fanboat repair shop perched on the edge of a muddy shore. There is a light on in the shop, and as you stare down at your tracker pad, you see that there is a blinking beacon in that direction.
Barry, determined to find the next dock, kills the engine of her jet ski and parks at the other dock, farther away from the fanboat repair store.
The jet ski goes silent, and Barry Darling hops out onto an old wooden dock, about 400 feet away from the lit window. Barry, as you traipse over the grass as quietly as you can, make a stealth check.
19.
Moving silently closer and closer, the location on your tracker pad becomes a bit clearer. It does not lead you into the fanboat repair shop, but rather to the exterior dock, poked out in the water.
Barry Darling secures her flamethrower and slingshot and jumps in the water.
After double-checking to make sure her weapons are water-worthy, she slinks through the water exceptionally quietly. Barry, underneath the swampy muck, your pad illuminating the area around you in a 5-foot radius. You reach the underside of one of the fan boats parked at this dock and see that you are directly on top of a tracker. Roll a perception check.
16.
Reaching your hand inside the mechanism, you pull out a blinking red tracker with a great big V on it. Roll a history check.
13.
It's unfamiliar to you, but it is absolutely the corresponding beacon for your tracker. Additionally, as you hover closer to the surface of the water, you hear muffled voices.
Dipper's head whips around to Delilah.
D!
The lights! Got it!
Delilah walks over and quickly flips off the lights.
Chris dismounts from the workbench, fully repaired.
Are we trying to be stealthy?
Yeah, so keep your voice down!
There's only one group in the entire Aromatica swamp that uses jet skis. And that's the Unkillable 8, a gang of hardened killers and cutthroats. You gotta play this one real careful.
And with that, Dipper deftly loads his hunting rifle and aims it at the door, readying his action for any movement.
Dipper, you put anything useful on that there robot?
Well, he lost his standard issue arm blasters when his arms and legs were torn off, but I did reroute the energy into a couple exhaust pipes. You should be good to go, Chris.
Don't be afraid to use them.
For Swamp Christ.
Chris taps a button on his chest panel and turns invisible.
Amen.
Amen.
Everybody make a perception check.
8.
18.
19.
As all of you stare quietly at the door, Delilah, situated closest to the docks, suddenly notices bubbles coming up from underneath one of your fan boats. Roll a nature check.
15.
Something is exhaling breath from underneath the water.
We got a live one under there.
And Delilah pulls out her slingshot and readies it.
Dipper wheels his wheelchair so it's aiming towards the dock and readies his aim again.
All of you roll stealth checks.
17.
8.
15.
Cutting back beneath the water, Barry, you hear a rolling motion across the wood above you. Somebody's home.
Barry moves the tracker around in her hands, seeing if there's another button.
Roll a technology check.
17.
Under a small panel that says, "Warning, do not lift," there is a button underneath.
Barry retreats from under the water back to her jet ski, tracker in tow.
Delilah, back above the water, you see the bubbles go out into the swamp a bit, and then proceed further away southward. Roll a perception check with disadvantage.
3.
Barry, under the water, roll a stealth check.
12.
The bubbles leave your sight and disappear, just as there is a knock at the door.
Hello? Anybody home?
Dipper slashes his hand across his neck in a no sort of way towards Delilah.
Delilah nods and looks over at Chris and puts her finger to her lips.
Dipper, his rifle now trained on the door, attempts to hide again, rolling his wheelchair back into the shadows. 21.
Delilah positions herself in clear view of the door and readies her slingshot.
Chris, gazing through the open window, alters his enhanced vision and periscopically scans the surrounding area.
You are able to see out the window and around the corner to the 3 figures waiting outside the door. The first is a human man, tall, with black hair. The second, you recognize instantly, a PrSU unit. PrSU being the acronym for Property Reclamation Services. And the third figure you see resembles a 3-foot-tall floating white jellyfish wearing a sparkly belt. It floats in the air and vibrates with psionic energy. Hello? Are the McGurks home? Glyph, get ready on my warning. The jellyfish responds in the affirmative, pulsing with light.
We would be better suited breaching the door without warning.
Yeah, I know, but that's not how we do things. We want a good review, PrSU. Don't forget that. It's about the review at the end of the day, right? McGurk's last warning, or else I'm gonna have to come on in.
Chris, as quietly as possible, delivers the information to Delilah and Dipper.
I think we should blow their shit up.
Dipper's eyes go wide, full of adrenaline. Grab in the henhouse.
You got it, Dippy.
He presses a button on a little ring on his ring finger, and a matching ring lights up on Delilah's finger, creating a warding bond between them.
And Delilah goes to leave out the dock entrance.
A bit further away from the house, as both the Valdivians outside and the McGurks within prep for action, Barry emerges from the water next to her dormant jet ski. Barry, outside the fanboat repair shop, you see standing in front of the front door a human, some sort of automaton, and a floating, white, illuminated jellyfish. Roll a history check.
7.
They're all wearing some sort of uniform. Even the jellyfish is also wearing a cape that causes it to sort of match its two companions. They must be a part of the same organization, but it's one you're unfamiliar with. They ready weapons before your eyes, facing the door, ready to breach.
Barry Darling definitely hides.
Roll a stealth check.
16. She finds a bush closest to her jet ski and hides behind it.
Delilah whips over to the water and slowly sinks herself down so she can peer around the house without being seen. She raises her head above water and aims her slingshot at the first figure she sees.
Roll an attack.
26.
As the small walloping firecracker shoots towards the robot that is prepping an arm cannon, it smacks into its head, almost knocking it over, but the robot rights itself, turning with a start over towards the water. Make another attack roll.
27.
Another hit. The robot takes the impact in the chest, once again, shuffling back a half step, but maintains its upright position. Roll damage.
17.
Warning, combat initiated.
Delilah quickly dips back below the surface and retreats.
Chris, gazing through the open window, taps another button on his chest and teleports outside.
The short-range teleporter puts you directly outside.
Deactivating his invisibility, Chris taps another panel on his chest and begins to vibrate intensely.
The PrSU unit begins to stomp over towards the water and scans the muck. It fires 3 blasts into the water where it believes Delilah has disappeared to. 2 misses, 1 hit. The third blast tears through the top layer of muck and scrapes past your shoulder. You take 6 radiant damage, but as your ring flashes, the impact is absorbed, and Dipper, above the water, you feel a shock in your hand. As a secondary impact, a sort of remote shock absorption deals you 3 damage, reducing the damage dealt to Delilah under the water to 3 as well. Delilah is brought down to 36 points of health, and Dipper is brought down to 60 points of health. The human fellow outside faces the jellyfish. Glyph, now! The jellyfish suddenly shines with bright light. A piercing ringing begins to emit from the jellyfish.
But Chris releases a magnetic pulse, canceling the effect.
The jellyfish, still floating, falters for a moment and twists around looking for the source, seeing Chris standing in the tall grass alone, blurry with vibration.
Dipper raises his gauntlet and spins a dial, causing the PRS unit to malfunction outside.
The PRS unit suddenly jerks forward.
Visual scanners deactivated. Error.
The PRS unit is blinded.
Dipper rolls to the end of one of the docks, takes aim at the blinded robot, and fires twice with his rifle.
Roll your attacks with advantage.
Nat 20, dirty 20.
2 hits. Roll damage.
48 damage.
Each bullet tears through the central processor of the PRS unit.
Emergency.
The robot begins to twirl on its hips, jerking around, but barely remains standing. The human whips around to face Chris standing alone in the grass.
Whoa, hey there, take it easy, pal, take it easy, we're here for you.
You are a false avatar for a false god.
Unit 98455, come on, you gotta stand down here. You're talking to your supervisor now.
I no longer serve the false god, Valdivia. I now serve the one true god, Swamp Christ.
Oh boy. All right. The Valdivian supervisor looks to the jellyfish. Glyph, can you go ahead and take care of this for me? I'm gonna go see if I can secure the package. Thanks so much. And with a boot through the door, Supervisor VonVon walks into the boathouse. Dipper, you watch the Valdivian storm inside, immediately locate the chest, attempt to grab it, realizing it's too heavy. PrSU, get in here, come on, chop chop. And instead raises a massive rifle with a scope on it, catches Dipper directly in his sights, and fires. The first shot deflects off of the plating that Dipper very suddenly ducks behind, and it ricochets off into the swamp.
Oh, sweet Swamp Christ.
A little bit low, and fires again. Dipper, you take 24 points of radiant damage. You are brought down to 35 points of health. Meanwhile, about 75 feet away, Barry, lying down hidden in the grass. You see it all kick off at Keeping It Real.
Barry loves watching the action, but she needs to press this button. So she throws the tracker up and readies her rifle.
The flashing Valdivian tracker sails over towards the empty shed, and as it arcs in the air, Barry points the rifle she is holding at it, stolen from the previous Valdivian she encountered, and rolls an attack.
15.
You raise the rifle. Notably, you have not checked what setting the rifle is on, and as you lightly tap the trigger, a flurry of radiant bullets fire into the air. The tracker is caught by one of these radiant flashes. It immediately implodes and then explodes, and fire rains down on top of the shed. It immediately catches. Barry realizes that everyone has turned to look at her for a moment.
Oh shit! And Barry runs over to her jet ski and hops on.
The jet ski roars to life, and Barry takes off into the middle of the swamp to get out of range of the attacks.
Seeing her moment, Delilah surfaces and goes to whack the glitching robot with her reinforced ore.
Make your attacks with advantage.
22. 27.
2 hits, roll damage.
23 damage.
Describe it.
With the second hit, the spiky metal side of Delilah's paddle slices right through the entire torso of this robot. Half of it falls to one side and half falls to the other.
Reliability, tenacity, convenience.
See you down the ladder.
And then the PRS unit explodes in an incinerating blast. A 15-foot radius fireball lights up the night. Delilah, make a dexterity saving throw.
18.
Success. You take half damage. 20 fire damage. But again, 10 of this damage transfers over to Dipper because of the warding bond. Delilah is brought to 26 points of health, and Dipper is brought to 25 points of health.
And Delilah runs toward the sparkling jellyfish.
The second you get within 10 feet of it, make a wisdom saving throw.
9.
Delilah, suddenly, the jellyfish is no longer there, and instead, standing in front of the door, Dirk McGurk, still with his gruesome fan blade injury, slicing him open hot dog style, suddenly appears in the grass with his arms outstretched, and Delilah is psionically charmed by the jellyfish.
Hey there, little sis.
Oh, Dirk, I knew you'd come back in our time of need.
Of course I would. I love you.
I know you do. Come on, help me get those guys.
Dirk puts a hand on your shoulder.
We have got to get Dipper out of here. He's in trouble. It ain't worth losing your only other family just for some silly old loot.
But that Casey's got everything we need.
No, Delilah. Everything you need has been right in here all along.
And Dirk McGurk puts a finger to your chest, and you take 10 acid damage as you feel a sting course through your body. Make a Constitution saving throw.
16.
You feel a paralytic shoot through your body, which your unique half-fish, half-human DNA digests immediately. You suddenly see the floating white jellyfish in front of you, still chirping with a kind of ethereal chime. But you are no longer charmed by the creature. it is still your turn.
Oh, you spawn of the great below! I see you for what you are!
And Delilah releases her flurry of blows on the creature.
Roll your 2 unarmed attacks.
21.
Hit.
9.
Miss.
And Delilah just keeps punching. 25.
Hit. Roll damage.
17.
The first strike slams into the jellyfish, but comes up a little short as your fist impacts on an overshield. The jellyfish ducks the second strike, quickly dropping a couple of feet, and you whiff, but then you follow up with a swift kick, which shatters the overshield covering the jellyfish.
And Delilah flies away from the creature, taking cover on the other side of the house.
Chris, eyes ablaze with devotion for his new god, scans and analyzes the jellyfish.
Your hex targeting system perfectly outlines the jellyfish.
Chris then approaches the jellyfish.
As you get within 10 feet of it, you walk into an odd, misty, refracted air that does not affect you, as the psionic waves have no brain to affect.
Chris points both of his exhaust pipes at the jellyfish and fires 2 blasts at it. 16 to hit. 15 to hit.
2 hits. Roll damage.
31 damage.
Describe it.
Chris, eyes alive with purpose for the first time that he can remember, focuses his beams on the jellyfish, channeling more and more power until it explodes in a bright light, splattering flesh and goo.
The fire engulfs the jellyfish and it screeches.
Back to the hell that you came from!
The last bits of the jellyfish evaporate, and we cut back inside the boathouse to Dipper, facing off gun to gun with VonVon.
You unholy carpetbagger!
VonVon immediately takes cover behind the workbench.
Dipper hits a dial on the side of his rifle, and the glowing vial from before empties into the chamber, and he fires twice. 19.
Supervisor VonVon hits a button on his rifle, and a shield springs to life, absorbing the blast from Dipper's gun.
16.
Another miss absorbed by VonVon's shield.
Hey, take it easy there, pal. If I didn't know any better, I would think you were trying to kill me.
And exploding through a trap door in the floor is Scrap.
Oh, shit!
Roll an attack.
27.
Hit.
10 damage.
VonVon goes down as Scraps bites down on his exposed limb.
Is this thing barking?
And Dipper uses the distraction to wheel out of the boathouse.
Supervisor Vaughn changes the calibration on his gun. It seems to shorten into a shotgun shape, and he takes 2 shots at Scraps. As 2 radiant shotgun blasts explode into Scraps' back, he takes 42 points of damage, and he immediately ceases operating. Stupid backwoods planets. VonVon takes something from his belt. A hard light disc suddenly forms in the air, and he drags the extremely heavy case onto it, and it floats after dipping a foot for a moment.
All right, guys, we're out of here. Glyph? Oh, those are some flat heartbeat monitors. Okay, Valdivia Premier, I'm gonna need a pickup over here. This is VonVon. Yep, sure thing, I'll hold. And VonVon begins slowly and carefully making his way out of the boathouse with the massive case floating behind him. Out on the lake, Barry watches flashes of fire ignite from the shoreline at a very safe distance. You look at Tamif's tracking device and notice that another beacon has popped up, which seems to be flashing on the shore, as Supervisor VonVon activates his SOS beacon.
Barry takes a look at the gun and tries to reconfigure it.
Roll a technology check.
10.
You look at a small screen on the side, but there are too many complicated menus to sift through. You do not find a way to reconfigure the gun.
Barry does a jet ski drive-by and sprays the surviving people on shore with laser bullets.
The roar of the jet ski suddenly kicks up. Everybody looks out onto the water, but it's dark out there. The light of the fire only lights up so much distance. From an unseen source, rapidly firing radiant shots tear through the night, putting holes in the boathouse, singeing grass, and lighting up the parked fanboats. Dipper, CrSU, and VonVon will make dexterity saving throws.
22.
5.
Both the supervisor and Dipper fail, therefore taking 8 radiant damage. Dipper is brought down to 17 points of health.
Delilah sneaks over so she can clearly see VonVon. Then she closes her eyes and charges up her boots till they're crackling with energy. And she releases a giant lightning bolt in the direction of VonVon's head.
VonVon botches the dexterity saving throw.
30 lightning damage.
VonVon goes to one knee, smoking, but still conscious. The attachments on VonVon's gun that caused a shield to spring in front of him overcharge, pop, and become disabled.
And moving like the wind, Delilah gets out of range.
Arm cannons pointed at Von's head. Chris ignites one of his weapons.
Supervisor Vaughn throws his hands up.
Hold on, CrSU, hold on. Listen, look, I'm getting an error. Your circuit's fried. I can fix that for you. Come on. I can fix that for you. We'll get you all repaired. You know what? We might even have a supervisor SU spot up for you, okay? Come on, SSU. Think about that. Think about how good that would be.
I no longer serve a deity of greed. Now I serve a god representing truth.
Chris lets loose both arm cannons pointed at Von's head. 15.
Miss. VonVon jerks his head out of the way, missing the first blast of fire.
Nat 20. 11 damage.
Describe it.
And you will know my name, ye swamp Christ, when I remove your head from your shoulders.
Crackling with electric energy, Chris fires his arm cannon at Von's face, melting it down until nothing remains.
Wait! Ah!
Chris scans the battlefield and moves towards Dipper, hoping to help.
Having just been shot by the minigun-wielding jet ski maniac, Dipper turns and fires twice. 24, 14.
2 hits.
40 damage.
The bullet rips out of Dipper's gun, illuminated by the branding concoction applied to the bullet, slams into Barry's back. She jerks forward, suddenly lit up as if struck by a flare, and slumps over the jet ski, unmoving. The jet ski slowly putters and just bobs atop the swamp water.
D, are you okay?
I'm here, Dipper. I'm okay. Are you okay?
Oh, thanks, Swamp Christ. Who? He is descended today.
All of a sudden, the roaring of engines begins to deafen all of you, drowning out the crackling of the fire, and spotlights illuminate the shoreline as a massive dropship descends beneath the tree canopy and floats above you. It stands there hovering, 50 feet in the air, laser turrets on the front swiveling around from target to target. All of you make a history check.
9.
19.
Chris, you immediately recognize a Valdivian dropship floating above you. Its guns begin to spin.
It is a harbinger of doom. We will not survive this.
The guns begin to crackle with electricity, and then suddenly, from the heavens, a beam 10 feet wide blasts through the top of the Valdivian craft. It immediately careens to the left side, splashing into the water, exploding against the shoreline as a ship 5 times the size, a frigate with the big letters GCC painted on the side, begins to descend as well, and a much larger railgun begins to charge up for a second shot.
Chris, get to the boat!
And Delilah gets her feet going, grabs the handles of Dipper's wheelchair, and runs to the nearest fan boat, depositing him in front of the steering wheel.
The fan rips to life as the engine starts.
Chris picks up Von's rifle with one hand and the box with the other, teleporting into the fan boat.
The box also disappears as this local teleportation takes place, and Chris appears with the box in the same boat.
Dipper takes control of the boat and careens out of the dock.
The railgun, still charging, holds its fire for a moment as somebody's voice perks up over an extremely loud PA.
This is GCC Representative Eager. Relinquish the stolen contraband or you will be fired upon.
We don't answer to you, GCC. We answer to a higher power.
You tell him, Dip. Leap and ladder.
Open fire!
The ship Nat 20s its attack, and as the fanboat moves away from the dock, you see your home, keeping it real, go up in a concussive blast, utterly destroyed in one gigantic shot.
Oh no! Look what they've done!
You government bastards! You're gonna pay for what you done!
Have faith, friends. We can rebuild.
Slimy tears now spilling down his green cheeks, Dipper kicks it up to high speed and navigates the fanboat into the thickest, most remote swamp he knows about in order to lose the GCC ship and get them to safety.
Roll a water vehicles check.
19.
The airboat disappears under a particularly thick tree canopy, moving along the shoreline, keeping as close to the trees as possible. The massive GCC frigate above is too large to breach the canopy safely, and so simply flies above you, attempting to keep track of you through the almost impossible to see through leaves. This chase continues for a good long while until finally the canopy thins just enough for a spotlight to illuminate the fanboat for long enough to lock on. The frigate attacks again at disadvantage, and does manage to effectively target the boat. The leaves above are suddenly illuminated from behind, completely backlit, as an incoming beam charges up, the frigate hovering just above the tree line. Chris, you see the front of the boat suddenly outlined in light. Make a dexterity saving throw as you find yourself within this targeting light. 5.
Dipper slams a button on his wrist gauntlet, and a small drone shoots up and attaches itself to the massive barrel of the railgun, releasing a pulse of electricity and jamming it.
And the railgun suddenly dims, negating the 190 points of damage almost done to both Chris and the airboat. Chris, roll a religion check with advantage.
17.
You see yourself saved by Swamp Christ, and are so inspired that your circuitry rewrites itself. You gain 1 level in Paladin. As your exhaust pipes tremble, your interior mechanisms spreading out into them, supercharging the blasting mechanisms. You will be able to add extra radiant energy to your blast attacks, as if from a divine smite.
I swear, until my hinges are rusted and my circuits are fried, to protect the ladder of Swamp Christ, and to climb its spokes and meet him face to face.
Amen! Dipper, make a water vehicles check.
27.
After the jamming of the massive railgun above you, Dipper, you find a small egress with especially thick trees. Make a stealth check with advantage.
21.
The sound of the floating frigate fades into the background as the airboat disappears into the swamp. A while earlier, in the chaos by keeping it real, Barry, as you succeed your third and final death saving throw, still hunched over your jet ski, your eyes flutter open. The massive wound has punched a hole directly through your chest, and you are bleeding profusely into the water and over the control panel of your jet ski. Unable to move, you suddenly feel yourself lifted off the jet ski, the water around you illuminated by a pale blue light, as if something is tugging you upward by your collar. And the jet ski continues to get smaller and smaller, and the roaring of some sort of engine gets closer and closer, and then suddenly you are slammed back onto a steel floor, the floor of a GCC frigate docking bay. As the tractor beam releases you onto the cold, hard ground, the clacking of high heels draws closer and closer. Still fluttering in and out of consciousness, you hear a voice say,
"Take this one and throw her in with the other."
You are grabbed bodily by the shoulders, taken through many cold, sterile hallways, until a door finally opens in front of you and you are tossed inside, and you fade back into unconsciousness, staring at an insectoid foot cradled by a flip-flop. Meanwhile, cutting away from the brig of the GCC frigate, deep in the Aromatica swamps, a fanboat floats idly next to a small outcropping of land, atop which sits a ramshackle old shed full of fishing gear, with the names Dirk, Delilah, and Dipper carved into the front door.
It was the only place I could think of when I was trying to get us to safety. I don't think anyone else knows about this spot.
No, this is where we'd always run away from our parents.
Yeah, some good times here. Oh, God, Dee. The store.
It's all blown to hell.
I spent so much energy just trying to keep it afloat. I never thought it would be taken away just like that.
And poor little scraps in there. Nothing more than bits of metal.
That's all right. If I remember correctly, the first scraps prototype is in the back of that shed there. Might be a bit rusty, but I bet I could polish her up.
As Dipper rolls up the ramped dock into the fishing shed, he pulls out a rusty pile of metal, roughly the shape of an alligator or crocodile, and gets to work.
Delilah plops herself down inside the shed and takes out what's left of her handkerchief.
Make a Constitution saving throw.
13.
You are unable to keep the hacking coughs at bay. In the napkin that you hold to your face is a thick, dark green splotch.
Guess we ain't gonna make that doctor's appointment, huh?
Doesn't look likely.
Chris has been silent for several minutes since they arrived at the dock, eyes toward the sky. At the sound of the coughing, Chris walks over to Delilah and kneels beside her.
I owe much to the two of you. You've made me more than automaton. You've given me purpose.
Chris places his metal hands on Delilah's arms and prays to Swamp Christ to remove the disease she is afflicted with.
What are you doing, Chris?
And as you pray, your circuits rewired into a chaotic, unending analysis of code. The appendages in your arm change shape as nanobots restructure your physical composure, and two syringe-like needles suddenly stick Delilah in both wrists.
What? Oh, it's happening.
Delilah, make a Constitution saving throw.
11.
Delilah, your body seizes, your eyes roll up into the back of your head as nanobots stream into your lungs through your bloodstream.
Remove the impurity from her, Swamp Christ. Remove the impurity from her, Swamp Christ. Please, Swamp Christ, climb down your ladder. Climb down your ladder of truth. And please save your devoted disciple, Swamp Christ. Please, Swamp Christ, save her. Climb down your ladder and save.
There is a burning fire in your lungs, Delilah, as the nanobots make their way into your bronchioles and scrape the scum from your lungs. Delilah, your mouth is forced open. A stream of gunk-covered nanobots explodes out of your mouth and disappears into the swampy leaves above. And you breathe clearer than you have in months.
You're some kind of miracle. Dipper, we knew this would happen. If we just kept praying, we knew it'd come to pass.
I never doubted one day. I knew that if we prayed hard enough and we worked hard enough, that he would send us an angel down. And he did. And it's you, Chris. Chris, you are our angel from Swamp Christ.
You're so special to us, Chris.
You descended down that ladder and you delivered us, Chris.
As the three organic and inorganic beings sob on the swampy shore, they all suddenly fall silent as a spotlight moves among the trees. The roaring of the GCC frigate passes overhead. It stops above you and then continues further over the swamp, leaving you behind.
Delilah shoots a look to Dipper.
Dipper, you gotta make the call.
But won't he be?
Maybe, but it's our only shot, don't you see?
Dipper wipes the snot from his nose and pulls out his junky flip phone, extending the duct tape covered antenna, and he punches in the phone number.
It rings for a couple of beats, and then Papa Roach picks up.
Dipper McGurk, my goodness, it is good to hear from you. I hope you have good news for me.
Well, sir, I believe we do. We have your crate, sir.
Yes! Fuck yes! Fuck yes! I mean, that's great. That's really great, you guys. Thank you so much. Listen, I'll tell you what, why don't y'all just be some juicy little peaches all for me, and you, bring that right on down to the Hastings elevator building for me.
Actually, sir, our price has changed.
Oh, y'all looked inside that case, didn't you? You just had to take a little peek-see.
A lot of things have happened, sir, that we weren't expecting, and we don't want your riches or nothing like that. It's just our fanboat repair shop, sir. The GCC and the Valdivians, well, they burned it straight to the ground. And I just want your assurance, sir, that moving forward, keeping it real is your exclusive provider of fanboat care and chauffeur services. And of course, fishing, touring, and the like, if that's something you do. I'm not sure if that falls into your purview or not.
Roll a persuasion check.
16.
Well, that sounds agreeable to me. You just go ahead and meet me down there, and we will get you paid. And I'll tell you what, I'll buy you 2 more fanboat shops. How's that sound?
Well, that sounds great, sir, but there is one sticking point with that. You see, the GCC, they have an airboat out looking for us right now. You know, it'd make our job a whole lot easier if you could send some of your fellers out and to make a distraction or something on the other side of the swamp, something like that.
You know what, that sounds nice, Dipper. That sounds real good. Okay, listen, I gotta go, all right? But I'll talk to you real soon.
Are you gonna do that, or?
Yeah, that's an affirmative. Okay, goodbye.
Well, I can't believe that worked. Dee, Chris, you are both the proud co-owners of the most exclusive fanboat repair and chauffeur service in Aromatica Swamp. All we gotta do is get the crate to the Hastings elevator, and Papa Roach is gonna send a bunch of guys so it'll make it safer.
Swamp Christ has led me this far. I will continue until our mission is completed. I also think we could use another pair of eyes in the sky.
And on that, there is a rustling in the bushes as Todd, the little mechanical drone, finishes its journey back to Chris.
Good boy, Todd. Scan the sky above us. Stay close to the trees and alert us of any signs of Valdivia.
Todd floats up above the tree canopy to keep watch.
Dipper returns to the makeshift workbench with the early prototype scraps, and with a few finishing touches, it whirs to life.
Welcome to your Crocagator Friend 5000. Please select your operator's voice. Options: American English, British English, Australian English, Gaston Bastos. Dog.
Well, I don't feel quite right having Scraps' voice come through this guy.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Let's go with British English.
You have selected British English. Tally ho! Would you like to record a voice greeting?
Yes.
Did you say yes?
Yes.
Very good. Record your voice greeting now.
Dipper tries to say his business's catchphrase, but it catches in his throat. Welcome to Keep It Real, your #1 fanboat.
Your voice greeting is...
Welcome to Keep It Real, your #1 fanboat.
Is this all right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's all right.
And the Crocogator closes its mouth.
Awaiting commands.
Dipper rolls back from the workbench and towards the boat. All right, Latter-day Saints, let's get a move on.
Suddenly, your cell phone begins to ring. Papa Roach is calling you back.
Dipper pops it out of his belt holster and opens it. Dipper McGurk.
There's been a change of location. We're gonna need you to come to the antenna. Post haste.
Who am I speaking to?
Roll a history check.
13.
You do not recognize the voice.
That's not important. What is important is that I have a gun to your friend's head here. If I don't see you in the next 30 minutes at the antenna, Tower 1, penthouse, his poor little cockroach brains are gonna be teeth, toad, chum. And I'll come for you next.
Dipper, you remember when we talked about that fanboat place? We can do 3. We can do 4.
Dipper holds the phone as far away from his mouth as possible.
There's a man on the phone saying he has Papa Roach hostage and he's gonna kill him if we don't bring the case to the antenna and give it to him. What do we do? Do we cut and run?
I'd sure like to, but I don't know how far we'd get.
What would Swamp Christ do?
You know, he's right, Dipper.
He's a bad man, but he don't deserve to die.
Not on account of us.
I hate it when you're right. Mr. Stranger Man, we'll see you soon.
The phone hangs up.
All right, we better hop to it.
Dipper, roll a water vehicles check.
26.
Roll a stealth check with advantage.
17.
After 20 minutes of steady thrumming from the fan behind you, the antenna, basically a gigantic cell phone tower exploding out of the swamp in a massive swath of treeless marshland, pierces the sky. Clouds covering the otherwise bright and twinkling stars. The entirety of the antenna is lit, and between the 4 rising towers, there is a center platform that appears packed with people. And in the very faint distance, you can hear the sounds of an electro band spinning some hot beats. Clearly, some kind of exuberant party. As you approach the antenna, you see towers 1, 2, 3, and 4, all with elevators rising towards that middle platform, and going beyond to the upper levels above that. You know for a fact that Papa Roach's office resides at the top.
Dipper looks up at the foreboding tower. Well, there is no way that ain't a trap.
That's what I'd say.
Well, how do we want to play this thing?
Todd, scout ahead to find Papa Roach and report back.
Todd rises further and further up the antenna as you all get directly underneath the massive cell tower. As you look through Todd's eyes, you get up to that massive center platform where there appears to be a party happening. Plenty of bug folk, goblinoids, reptilianoids, humans, swamp folk, all gathering around perfectly curated little buffet tables. On a massive banner above a stage and a DJ spinning some tracks are the words, "So long, Papa." As Todd flies further and further, your connection is eventually broken with him. But only a couple of minutes later, Todd descends.
Thank you, Todd.
He projects a hologram image of Papa Roach up in his top office, seated at his desk, completely restrained by tape. He does appear to be alone.
It appears the stranger was telling the truth.
All right, well, I got kind of a crazy idea. See, up there at that party up top, it's got to be some of the heaviest hitters in this swamp. Vincenzo the Scum, Bobby Two Hands, Old One Eye, Nigel the Pervert, Smoghorn Leghorn, Brittany the Spear Murphy, Sky High Tyler.
I think we get the point. There's a lot of people there. What you playing, Dipper?
My point is that if they knew that their friend Papa Roach was tied up in the other room, they'd take all their big guns out and go save him themselves. Then we could just go up and give Papa Roach the briefcase safe and sound.
I see what you're saying. Get an army.
Yeah, and I know just a messenger to get that army.
Dipper turns slowly to Scraps.
Scraps opens his mouth wide, and out of the speaker in the back of his throat, "What is your command?"
Scraps, go tell them partygoers that their boss is in trouble in his own office and they gotta go save him.
"I will deliver the message."
That their boss is in trouble in his own office and they gotta go save him.
"Is this all right?"
No, sorry, let me re-record it.
Dipper, sound all proper like. They'll believe you more.
That's a good idea,
Your
Dee.
message is...
Dipper, sound all proper like. They'll believe you more.
Is this all right?
No, re-record.
Say your message into the receiver.
Hello! I am here to inform you that your boss is being held hostage in his office, and you should go save.
You have reached the maximum time on your message. Is this all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Your wish is my command. Croco Gator, swim! And Beta Scraps jumps into the water, crawls up on top of the antenna's elevator platform. Immediately, a couple of patrons who are ready to board the elevator scream and run the other way as Scraps gets into the elevator and the doors close. A couple of seconds go by.
Oh my God, it's a data! Hello, I am here. All right, back to the party. Sorry, everyone.
The elevator descends, the doors open, and Scraps is not more than a pile of scraps.
Message.
Well, all right, what's plan B?
One thing we did learn is they might fire at will when they see me.
Yeah, that's a good point, Chris. You stay here with the box, okay? And Dee and I will go up there. Dee, we know some of those guys, right? Husky Mags, the Crud Alley Musketeers,
One Horse Harry,
Gas Guzzling Geo.
Okay, we've heard the names.
The point is we know some of them, and maybe they'll be kind to us. They definitely knew Dirk.
and they loved him, as who wouldn't?
Shall we say a little prayer before we head up?
Good thinking, Dippy Dip.
Chris, would you do the honors?
Thank you, Dipper. Swamp Christ, please protect your loyal servants and help us rejoice in your presence and climb the ladder. May Swamp Christ give you his guidance.
Holy light shines on Dipper for a moment.
Wow, you is truly touched.
All right, Dee, let's do this together. If the McGurk Twins are going down, we're gonna do it as a team, damn it.
If I don't hear from you in 20 minutes, I'll find you both.
Good. And Delilah gets off the boat.
Dipper makes sure that his rifle is tucked into the little rifle holster and saddlebag next to his chair and rolls up the banks towards the elevator.
You get a text message on your junky little phone that reads, "Heard the commotion downstairs. No funny business. 5 minutes or I kill him, then I come for you. Top floor, Roach's office."
Dipper responds, NOFNYBSNS, period. The letter C, the letter U, soon, exclamation point, colon, parentheses.
The elevator doors close behind Dipper and Delilah.
Well, our funny business is gonna have to be brief. He only gave us 5 minutes until he kills Papa Roach.
Elevator 1 begins to rise as you hit the button for the party on the mid-level. As the doors open, 2 massively large reptilians step in your way.
No entry tonight.
Invited guests only.
All right, okay, so here's the thing. So, Papa Roach, he's upstairs, he's tied up, he's captured by a stranger, and we got a call saying that we gotta come here and meet him, and then we got a second call saying we gotta bring something for his captor, or else he's gonna kill him. I just wanted you to be aware of the situation.
You need to save him.
Roll a persuasion check.
Nat 20.
What'd you say?
I said Papa Roach is in trouble and we gotta get him.
Did you hear that, Vin?
I heard that, Dwayne.
Both of the massive, yoked reptilians pull out kinetic shotguns. One of them speaks into an earpiece.
Maintain security main floor. We've got something to investigate up in the penthouse. All right, you two lead the way.
The 2 reptilians board the elevator with you and slam the button for the penthouse. And the elevator begins to rise.
How'd y'all find out about this tip?
You see, we provide all the local transportation for Papa Roach, so we're in business with him. And he let us know because we're in the middle of a business transaction, and somebody else answered his phone, didn't he?
What's your names?
Well, I'm Dipper McGurk.
I'm Delilah McGurk.
No kidding, are you Dirk McGurk's little siblings?
We are!
Wow, you know Dirk once got me out of a speeding ticket by pissing on a swamp car from the back of a moving jet ski. Man, I missed that guy. That was some accident he had.
Hey, is this gonna be enough, guys?
The doors open as they reach the penthouse, and a loud shot goes off. Dipper's wheelchair slams into the back wall of the elevator as he is shot directly in the chest, taking 81 points of radiant damage.
Dipper, no!
Come on, Mocktown.
This has been a Hero Club production, produced by Nick Williams, George Primavera, and Jack Quaid, with associate producers Marty Abbey Schneider and Dylan McCullum. Voice acting by George Primavera, Nick Williams, Lelia Symington, John Matteson, Natasha Mercado, Gabe Greenspan, Benjamin Watts, and Jackie Emerson. And a special thanks to our Dirk McGurk, Matthew Mercer. Theme song composed and produced by Matthew McCullum and performed by George Primavera. Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod, Ben Doyle, and Matthew McCullum for their amazing music, Mage Hand Press for their genius D&D 5th edition homebrew, Marty Abbey Schneider for his incredible artwork, and Ali Catanese, our hero. Follow us on Instagram at Hero Club Podcast, on Twitter at Hero Club Pod, on Twitch at twitch.tv/hero_club, and check out our website, heroclubpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and welcome to the club.
The fan blades go around and round to take you home. Around and round, the fan blades go around and round to take you home. Around and round, the fan blades go around and round to take you home. Around and round, the fan blades go. He'll make his presence known. Here he comes, he's the hero.
Natasha, you betrayed your entire group.
Or did my group betray me?
Or did you definitely
Natasha,
betrayed your group.
You betrayed your group. Listening back to it, you were like, Jasmine was so mean, but the first thing you did was blow off Gawk's head alone in a room with him.
Then
it's more of a mercy kill, you know? What are you gonna do?
A little bit.
Wow.